Joe Guszkowski. I'm a senior editor with Restaurant Business, and I'm here with Josh Kern. He's the CEO of SPB Hospitality Group. Josh, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
So SPB is a bit unique as far as multi-concept operators go. For those who aren't familiar with it, just tell us a little bit about the company and the brands you own.
Sure. We're up to 9 different brands now. It spans about 525 restaurants in about 37 states. And we run everything from a QSR, which is Crystal, all the way up to polished casual. So we have J. Alexander's and Stony River. Logan's Roadhouse is in there, and we have Old Chicago. And then we just acquired Jose Garces' group. And so that's Amada, Village Whiskey, and a couple new concepts that he's working on. So definitely keeps us busy for sure.
You've been busy the past few years.
Yeah.
I think one of your recent moves was you actually sold some of the brewery concepts. So
That's right.
Tell us about that deal and why you did.
Yeah, I mean, part of, love breweries, love brewery restaurants. I mean, they certainly had their heyday. It was just something that, consumers just couldn't wrap their hands around anymore. And it kind of had its day. So it was really difficult to get traffic in there. Beer consumption, is certainly down. And they were really large assets. I mean, they averaged about 15,000 square feet. And just the way today's kind of, how people are eating, shared spaces are just not what they were. So we were working hard to kind of divest ourselves of that, and we found a buyer. And it was important to us to keep the brand alive. Like, we could have just kept on closing them, expire the brand with Rock Bottom and Gordon Biersch, but we found a group that is trying to cultivate it and turn them around. And so that's kind of what we're, some of our thesis is in and around that is, can we fix brands and then ultimately sell those off and then invest in something new that's out there and grow those concepts. So that's kind of our underlying thesis, if you will.
So in some ways you think of yourself as almost an investment company.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And we're very good. I mean, I think we're better in the casual and in the polished space. QSR has been a learning experience for Crystal. And so we kind of have come to find where our sweet spot is. And we certainly are kind of putting that target on that polished segment of what we're seeing. I mean, it seems to withstand traffic a little bit better, an affluent guest coming in, and then adding that level of hospitality that's a little more refined. I think there's a great niche for that across the country for sure.
Interesting. And of course, you just added to that sort of segment with the Jose Garces concepts. So tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, I mean, Chef is he's very creative. We're looking at a new concept that kind of is a fusion Mediterranean Mexican concept. So he's just got really great ideas, a lot of energy, and what he's not good at is scale, right? Is what we're good at is being able to find those locations, get the operations team in there. How do you get supply chain efficient? And so it's been really good for him, so he can be more creative. And he's really keeping us running in terms of what's next. Mm-hmm. And Amada, there's only 3 units. We have a 4th that's coming online in Chicago in November. And that category of Spanish tapas and wine and having kind of the next generation of flavors is really something that we think is a good idea. Mm-hmm. And I think it makes SPB a little bit more sexy, if you will, as a company. It's tough when you have kind of all these legacy brands. And ultimately we'd like to do something, whether that's going public, down the line. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
for sure.
So Crystal is your largest brand, but it's also kind of like the odd one out.
It is.
It seems. So what's your plan for that?
I mean, we took it on about 2 years ago, and it was very broken. I mean, the things that we saw it was just crazy. And so we've really turned around to had positive same-store sales last year, not all to do with price. We were just doing the basics, getting those drive-throughs faster. So we see it as an opportunity to continue to polish it and ultimately see what kind of market is out there down the line. It's a little early, because we still got to prove that business case that it's a viable brand. But the good thing about it is that consumers love it. And they will not let this brand die. So it's up to us to keep that flame alive and really push it. I did put a person that was really her name is Amanda Hyde, who was much more in the casual space, but I put her into Crystal, and that's really helped because we're getting that a little bit more hospitality, a little bit more refined hourly worker that's coming in. So it's getting a new kind of life to it, and we'll see what happens. And that brand needed innovation. So, leaning into, we've got a burger that we're smashing, pressing, that's in test right now. Getting better shakes, going back to onion rings, doing some things that brand can really stretch and having fun with it. That's the key with Crystal, because it's an irreverent brand. It's weird, it's funky. It appeals to a very two different audiences, and so it's fun now that we've fixed it. And we with SPB, we were kind of a plane that was flying that was on fire, and now I think we put those flames out. And now we're really, being able to be much more strategic in terms of what we're doing with these brands, and how we're going to grow for sure.
And then how about Logan's? That's in a segment that's steak, right? That's been doing well. So how's that brand doing? What are your plans there?
Yeah, super excited about Logan's. I mean, it's been through the ringer through its history, right? It's been in 2 Chapter 11s. It's had all the things you can possibly imagine that companies would do to try and they think they're doing something good in terms of cost savings. But we really leaned into quality, and it elevated those stakes, and it's doing really well. I mean, it's going through a nice heyday. We compete, against some big competitors out there in Texas Roadhouse. Obviously, we've got Outback, but we launched the Real Meal Deal, similar to what's out there in terms of some bundled products at $11.99, and that guest is really looking for that value equation, but high quality products. So we leaned into those sirloins, and I'd put our sirloin against anyone's out there. And it took a while to get, to really be able to, okay, we're going to upscale what we're serving, and we got to keep it at a manageable price. So it's a fun brand. It's found its way. We benefited from COVID that we don't have peanuts in the restaurant anymore. So we do have rolls that are, part of the lore of the brand, but we're no longer having to spend, $1.5 million on peanuts that get thrown on the floor. So they're much cleaner assets. Yeah, I mean, and we haven't really had consumer pushback on that. So that was a big surprise. But I think that our GMs appreciate that they're not as, the shells aren't all over the ground. It's a little gross when you think of it.
Yeah, a lot of cleanup, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because you must see such a large cross section of consumers, from Crystal all the way on up to your polished casual brands. So how is the consumer doing,
Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place. And I think that we're definitely seeing some pullback in different areas. It's very, it's just very wonky. And what we're starting to see is consumers are splitting meals a little bit. And so you'll see at a J. Alexander's, someone that used to come in for, as a couple, now they're kind of sharing a meal, sharing an appetizer. So you see a little bit of that starting to happen. But that, very resilient. I mean, it's Jay's continues to increase year over year sales. Traffic is healthy. So that kind of upscale consumer is very resilient. When you go into kind of QSR, it's very, it's last year it was going like gangbusters, a little soft this year. And I think that's some of the value proposition. We fight weather is always kind of interesting. And it's something this year is Easter is so late this year that it's kind of been kind of interesting in terms of what's happening out there. That impacts spring break. So, I think that's more a byproduct of just what's happening.
It's always something.
It is.
Last question, it sounds like you're thinking of doing some more M&A. Any sneak peek you can give us there? Or?
Well, I mean, it's an interesting time. I mean, there's a lot out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's, kind of under the, the surface, if you will. We're really looking for concepts that have proven out, so they may have been born in a home market, but they've kind of scaled a little bit. Maybe they're in that 10 to 15 unit level, and then we can really apply that magic of what we're good at in terms of development. So we're leaning, in that polished arena more than we are kind of in that casual or fast casual. But I would just say stay tuned for sure.
Great. Well, thanks, Josh.
No
Really
worries.
appreciate it, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.